video is over factoring with opposites. In my opinion, this one's a little bit harder to recognize, but you can still utilize several of these tools in the next couple sections. So recognizing opposite binomials can help you factor your polynomials. You can always pull out a -1 factor from any set of terms, which will allow the terms to change their sign. So in your notes, we're going to do both A, B, and C. Our first example is 3x cubed minus 15x squared plus 10 minus 2x. And we're going to start this out by grouping our polynomial together. Now remember, when you're grouping polynomials in this sense, you have to have 4 terms. So this first set, we can pull out an x squared. We want to find a common number between 3 and -15, which will be 3. And what we get is we're going to pull out 3x squared. What's left over is going to be x minus 5. And when we do the same thing from this left side, we can't pull out an x term because only the -2x has an x. But we can find a common number between 10 and 2, which is -2. And we get 5 and -1. So when we pull out our -2, we're left with 5 minus x, or minus 1x. It's the same thing. Now, the mistake that most people will make is they see that x minus 5 and 5 minus x, to the eye, you may make the mistake and think that's the same. But that's really not the same. If we were to rewrite this as 3x squared, x minus 5, and we wanted to align the x terms, what we really get is minus x, or -x, plus 5. And those are not the same. Okay? Now, what we do with this is we can pull a -1 value out of any group of terms, even if one of them is negative, one of them is positive. So if I rewrite this portion, okay, and I pull out that -1 value, then what's going to be left over is 3x squared, x minus 5. Okay, if I pull out a -1, that's going to change my -2 to +2. It's going to change my x to +x, and my +5 to -5. Now our terms are the same. Okay, remember though, it had to have changed that 2 there. And we're left with 3x squared plus 2 in parentheses. Move this up real quick. Times x minus 5. Or you could have pulled the x minus 5 out first. But this will be your final answer in this case. This was the tricky part, that step. If you didn't realize that you could pull out that negative value, then you're more likely to make a mistake. So go ahead and turn your notes packet. Let's look at problems B and C. These may take you a little more time to realize. Okay, so for B, I'm going to move this opposite sign. I have 15x squared minus 10x cubed plus 8x minus 12. And if I group these together, okay, and I do all of the same rules, I can divide that by 5. This will be 3, this will be -2. I can also pull out an x squared on this one, so this will be 5x squared. What's left over is 3 minus 2x, okay, plus 8 and -12 can reduce by 4s. Okay, I'm going to pull out a 4 here, and I'm left with 2x minus 3. You can see that they're very similar, but they're not exactly the same, our two binomials. So if I concentrate, and really you can do either one. If I pull the negative term out of this, okay, I'm going to pull a -1 out. This makes this 5x squared. This one stays the same. It changes this to a -4, because I'm really, when I pull that -1 term out, I'm really multiplying it by negative 1. This is negative 2x plus 3. Now, if I really want to be particular, I'm going to rewrite these in exactly the same form. So I can clearly see which terms are the same. Okay, and so I pull out negative 2x plus 3 times what's left over is 5x squared minus 4. That's those terms here. Okay, and then this would be your final answer. Okay, last problem is C. It is 8y minus 8 minus x minus xy. Okay, we're going to group together our terms. And you can either group together this or you can group together the negative. It doesn't matter. I'm going to pull out, obviously, 8 and 8. They both have the same value. So I'm going to pull an 8 out, and I'm left with y minus 1. Remember, the 8 just doesn't disappear. Okay. Over here, I'm going to pull out a value of 1. Okay, a value of 1. Now, they both also have a value of x. And so I'm left with 1 minus y there. Now, if you had grouped these together a little more carefully above, you could have seen that they both had negative values. You could have done it a little bit different there, but we're just going to be doing it the same as we have been. Now, if I pull out another negative number here, this resorts to y minus 1 plus x, and then everything inside changes. I can rewrite this form here to 8, y minus 1 plus x, y minus 1, and now they are identical. So I have y minus 1, 8 plus x. Okay, remember these came here, y minus 1s I pulled out. Now, this section is going to require you to use a lot of practice. So I assigned a lot of homework for you to practice all these. Remember, the odds are in the back of the book.